Yes, I signed my soul on the dotted line. Back to my dad, like my dad was ever gone away. That was fantastic. I got to hold my tongue. That's me. I hang out with my kids, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. They're all boys. And I'm in the industry, and I wanted to show them what it is that I do. And each of them have been on stage and done something either variety show-esque or something specific to do something to do with the entertainment. Or they've produced their own movies, and they've edited their own movies. Like it's actually kind of crazy how the technology has gone in a way where my child at the age of 5 took video and pictures and edited his own stuff. That being said, I hear a cooing baby who is not probably working the thumbs as well as they could, but grabbing everything possible because I have invited your, you have a network, which my children kind of touched on, but not really. Only at the end there, actually kind of pawning themselves off on you, which I got to say, kudos on my kids. If you don't mind me.
I agree.
Kudos on my child, who is awesome. He's my kid.
Them early.
Yeah, I didn't do that, so that's fantastic. I just like a guy who knows that there is an end of a road, and then you're trying to see what's will you take a left if you make a right, and where are you going. But I just want to very quickly tell everyone who's listening that Alex Ross has the Never Sleeps Network, and it is a reaching out scenario that is very quickly trying to get a lot of conscious self-aware people who are trying their dangdest to have their voice be heard, and he's trying to help, and he feels he is helping, and one of those voices is one of the voices we've already spoke to. That's why we didn't ask her what her favorite color was, as we already know, as it changes with the times, as she's a lady. Lisa Schwartzman. She is a part of a podcast for which, or I like to call a Palmcast, as I don't want to promote Apple anymore to the drones that I have to. And she has her a new up and coming, and I've listened to one or two, I believe, if not just one, the same one over because I have no short-term memory, pertaining to a lady who is having moments with her children and the f-bombmom, which is also on the Never Sleeps Network, as well as the You Better Don't, which she is the better part of a duo that I love both. I love both of them just because they did my show and they're people, so I'm allowed to love them. And I'd like to welcome Lisa to the show if you can still be there and hear us.
I'm right here. Hello.
Hello. And do we have a little person with us?
There is, and he's tightly gripping his crib from the outside, and he might fall at any moment, at which point you will hear a harrowing scream.
That's fantastic. So I can't wait. That's something to look forward to if you're listening as a radio listener and someone who just downloaded this and it's on your car and you're listening in your radio. Wait to hear pain. There you go. So Alex Ross is a friend of yours, a neighbor, if I could throw that out there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're neighbors and friends as well, and he's great, and he's super social and super generous, and has people over for food all the time, and he's a good guy.
Nice.
And...
Look at okay. There's a lot of grease going on here, but what I do like is that is that you do have what I like to call in the marketing or online world a marriage. You have a voice, and you're capable of putting certain content together. And he has a voice, and he wants to say these people should be heard. And together, there's a marriage that it creates something that I like to call the Never Sleeps Network. At this point, would you say that's okay, Alex Ross?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're all just one big happy family, whether you like it or not.
Right. Everyone online. At some point, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation online, and with my kids listening, is that, we used to listen to something called cassette tapes and 8-tracks, and then it moved to DVDs, and then to Blu-ray. Next, I don't know what. And so the technology moves forward, and here we are talking on the very accessible www. And at some point, NBC, ABC, and CTV will try to buy us out of this little realm, and there will be some kind of high, expensive internet. That is not now. That is not this second. But clearly that seems to be our future. What do you think about that, Mr. Ross?
I believe there will always be room for the independent production. There will always be pirated radio. There will always be somebody on a CB putting something out there on his own volition, trying to have a voice as the small guy. I believe that with high production costs, you don't always get high production value.
All right. And with the small voice, Lisa, You are the behind the scenes person, and now this gives you the in front of the camera, as it were, per se. You feel that this is worthwhile?
Yeah, of course. And
No.
I mean, there's something very, it's very attractive to me as an old punk rocker. The idea that people are putting together their own content and trying to ensure high quality and yeah, I mean, as someone who has worked for a lot of major networks, it feels really good to be doing stuff that is very personal and uncensored.
See, the uncensored is important, and that's actually my motivation. 2 years going, 1 year fully online. There isn't a lot of content for family friendly, even though here I sit where there's a baby sitting on your table. My children are surrounding us, and I want to make this more entertaining. I don't know how to pull out a puppet show to really entertain the kids under 10, because that would do it. Even just animation, something. They want videos so bad. They do not. My parents tell me stories about how they used to watch the radio shows, and I don't know if there's got to be, you came from a different fabric to be able to pull that off. I mean,
I've got two suggestions. One is funny voices, and the other is sound effects.
yes, sound effects are good. I do like sound effects, or doing funny voices is definitely part two. So, Alex, do you have a theater ambition as well? As I saw you listed as part of either you are a host or you are one of the voices, are you not?
So I do have a flagship show that I based the network around because I too would like to have my friends and people in the industries that I'm interested in, being food and comedy and music and the arts, come and speak with me. More so because I'm interested. I really did this. It's called selfish giving. It's a term I've learned over the last little bit. You know, I really did this to host my own show, but it's never enough to just do it for myself. And it's never as enjoyable for me if I'm doing it by myself. So I actually host two shows. One's an industry intel show, we'll call it. And that's when I have the ability to bring on comedians and artists of all kinds. And then I have a food show that's strictly for chefs and people who are in the culinary arts in some shape or form, whether they're a sommelier or they're a preserver or a chef. You know, I'm very, very fortunate that I've worked in so many different industries growing up and still growing up. I'm finding that these people don't necessarily have a voice, especially in their own backyard. You know, so a lot of these guys run some of the best restaurants or work in some of the best comedy shows or you know, music venues in the city, but it's very difficult to be heard on a social media scale or a podcast scale or you know, just any kind of extra little bit helps. And because Toronto is lacking in basically an independent podcast network, this gives me the opportunity to give my friends and their friends a voice that they may or may not have had before.
Right. And now, Lisa, I guess you're a little less giving, a little even more with the selfish guiltiness, because you're a slice of life. It's you and a friend who are comrades in the way of storytelling and telling stories to the public together. And now, without being censored, you have the Pomcast or the podcast, for which you would like to call American Rackin' Smackin' Crackin'. You know, You Better Don't, which is on the network for which we speak. But the reason you're here is not for that specifically. It's now the Slice of Life, which is now the F-Bomb Mom, which you're not interviewing people then. It's still just Slice of Life, correct?
No, I actually am interviewing people. Interview might not be the right term. It's actually just speaking with fellow moms who have the same outlook as I do, which is that a glass of wine is great, and blowing off steam and joking about the stresses of being a parent is great, and not judging other people about how they parent is awesome, and just making a bunch of gross jokes. So I have guests on and we chat.
So this is not PG. My kids can't be listening to your F-bombing, mumming.
No, they can't listen. They can't listen. I mean, yeah, it's mom time, you know, where we kind of we say all the swears we know.
No, I hear you. I actually started my own program as well called daddysHome.com, if I could plug my own self on my own show. It hasn't hit the airwaves as of yet. It's daddies reaching out to dads because we need daddy time. I've heard
I think
people
that's a great idea.
and
I think it's great. Yeah.
yeah, no, I heard the mommy time, and I heard the same. I let my wife hear. It hasn't hit the air yet. I let my wife hear certain stories, and she said, "I've never heard that from a man before. I've only heard those stories from women." And I said, "You know what? That is the reason. You just motivated me, and now we have over 30 hours of programming of conversations that I think need to be honed. But at the same time, it's late night listening, where if you need a voice in the distance and someone to sit with, mommy's home, daddy's home." F-bomb mommy. Sorry, give me the proper term because I'm losing my lunch here. F-bomb mom.
It's f-bombmom.com.
Right, and I reached out to that. I gave a listen. I clearly everything else on the NSN, which I'm going to shorten it down, which is the neversleepsnetwork.com, which you should listen to. Last I heard on number 14, you were something was very fresh. Extremely fresh to the point where you needed to explain how fresh it was. Guy painted himself head to toe, and that was the last I heard from the hymn. Is there more? Is there more coming out? Is that a weekly show? The You Better Don't? Should I be looking forward to weeklies?
You Better Don't comes out. That's the show I do with important LA comedian Steve Shahori, who is fantastic. He actually just interviewed Amy Schumer for the Onion AV Club. And she's one of my favorites, and Steve is one of my favorites, and he's just fantastic. So doing a show with him is great.
Right. So you brought up you brought up magazines, and now you yourself, and I was just reading, which I asked for the link pertaining to you being written up in NSN for in the Now magazine, which is our a Toronto mag for very specifically to the independent movement. So that's always a plus. And you had some plus points, so that makes you feel pretty good, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's great. I think what I liked best about it was the interview with Alex, because normally he pisses me off because he's like a younger brother. Like, we have this kind of older sister, younger brother dynamic. But I gotta say, when I read that article, I felt a real swell of pride because of how open he was and honest he was, and that's about just about his inner world and how that led to his podcast network. And I'm just not used to seeing stuff like that in print coming from a man. It was just really great, and
Wow.
so I was proud to be a part of that. I was proud to be in that, and also, Alex, you're a goober.
And how did that make you feel, Mr. Goober? And then by that I mean probably a sweet candy that you have to suck on until you get to the county.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant booger.
Oh no.
I'm a dyslexic goober.
Which is
Ruber. Well, Lisa's right in the sense that we do have a very impressive brother-sister like dynamic, and I really sometimes. What's that?
Impressive?
Impressive.
Is that the word?
I would say that's the word, only because.
Would you say terrifying?
Well, yeah, I would also say that. But also, I would say impressive because, you can have friends. And the old sentiment goes, you don't pick your family, you pick your friends. But I think there's certain people in your life that click in a certain way more than
you don't
friends.
Pick your family, you pick your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the expression. Yeah, I've heard that too.
And I really believe that, especially with my amazing family. So
okay, hold on. No shout outs to the family. Here's the thing with family. Remember, those are the things you have to overcome to make you the authentic you are. Without any of those things, you wouldn't be you. I have to be so honest with any of that because everything happens for a reason, and I don't know the gold that's in their hills because I'm not here to super analyze, but that's all I can ever do in life. So at this point, I just want to say I really enjoy the idea of Never Sleeps Productions as a concept and as an idea. When I started my ideas of I was doing cartooning, and everything started out with me with cartooning, right? Yeah, that's where it starts. You try to tell a story, and you start scribbling, and you make a panel, and you make a balloon, and you tell a story, and you can do that. And then you do a bunch of them, it becomes a storyboard. Enough of them, you can put together a movie. or a television show or whatever it is you have you. And that's what it is. So when I saw comic books on your list, I said, well, that's kind of the thing. The guy wants to tell a story. Did you yourself do any comic booking as well? Any noodling and doodling that became kind of story-esque?
Are you asking me?
I am, because you're the one that I believe on your network has a comic book.
We
reach
do. So that's actually by a very talented journalist named Aaron Broverman. And I got to be honest, my comic book knowledge is pretty limited. I do have a great story about me appreciating comic books because one day I went to a comic book store. It's on my birthday when I was a kid. We always used to go to the same restaurant for everyone's birthday. And above it was a comic store called Cyber City Comics. And it was like clockwork. I would come sit down in the restaurant, order my food, and then while I was waiting for my food, a la Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction going to do cocaine in the washroom before her getting back to the table and her food has arrived, I'm waiting for that perfect gap of how can I
Okay,
go
kids,
kill
this is a movie.
time.
Kids. He's describing a movie, and he's talking about illicit drugs. Now, here's the thing. Now, during movies with illicit drugs, you shouldn't be talking about them. But people do them. You know, it happens. Here's the problem with that, kids. We shouldn't be talking about it. But here's the problem with that. He's watching a movie as an adult. You were an adult at the time, right? You weren't 11.
I'm making an allusion to something that I probably did see once I was an adult.
I hope you were. So we're describing things that we see when we're adults, and the kids are in the room. It's very difficult. Kids are in the room. I just want them to know what we're talking about and not lose our lunch. She's got a baby, and things are going to go crazy that way as well. But that's another day for her. I like keep going with your parable, but remember what you're doing.
So I would head upstairs to Cyber City Comics, and I would rummage through comic books, not really knowing anything about them. I kind of just like the idea of comic books. But on my birthday that day, when I went up to the comic book store, in a big plastic wrapped comic book, like a special edition, it says in big letters, Alex Ross. And I couldn't understand. I thought my family below in the restaurant was playing a trick on me on my birthday because they knew I was going to go up to that comic book store. And it was pretty much right when you open the doors, this thing was sticking out. Long story short, that's actually a famous illustrator named Alex Ross, who's worked for DC and Marvel Comics. And I purchased it, brought it downstairs.
That's amazing.
I know.
That is amazing.
I know. I brought it downstairs like angry almost. I'm like, who's playing a trick on me? I just spent, the $5 someone gave me, probably more than that, I have to check, but
Wait, how old were you when you were that suspicious about the world that you thought your family was playing a trick on you on your birthday, that you were like, ooh, I'm mad?
I think it's more because the predictability of it.
Okay. Who's coughing?
That was an Adam cough.
Oh.
I think it was just like, I was upset with how predictable they thought I was.
Really?
That I would walk into this, find this, and be like how they knew that I was going to leave the table. I didn't want to talk to them. I had more important things to do on my birthday, and it was to go upstairs and rummage, because I did it. It was like clockwork. Sit down, order my food, go upstairs, look at the comic. Do I even like comics? I probably liked my family more than comics.
But then why did you want to leave them? It sounds like you were acting like a teenager.
Well, that's just it, right?
So you're already acting older than your years when you were a kid.
My brain, especially in a restaurant back then, I couldn't do it. It took honestly, my goal as a child in a restaurant was, how can I order food and entertain myself either at the table or away from the table in a long enough period of time that I would perfectly time my food arriving when I arrive.
It must be so hard for kids to hang out in a restaurant. It must be so hard because it's probably boring, right? Isn't it? Because you don't get to run around as much.
Well, you don't get to do anything in restaurants are very confining. You know, they're like food jails. Like I almost feel like it's not your home, so you can't go play. You can't go play on the TV. You can't play your video games. You can't go run outside to your mom calling you in. if you're at a restaurant, you're a kid, and you want to go play outside while you're waiting for your food, that doesn't exist. You're doing something wrong.
No,
or you want to throw things or sit on the floor and it's like not allowed, and just everything feels weird and unpleasant, probably.
Right. So
except for the getting the food part.
Right. So my goal was always to see how quickly I could go check out the washroom, because that gave you your freedom. So you get out of the chair, you go check out the washroom, you stay at the washroom as long as you can. I never got to order my own food. I don't know what family you ordered with, but I showed up, food was ordered for me, and it was always, what the hell did we just order? That's my life. But that's how my life worked out. But I went to the washroom. That was my big thing. Big fan going to the washroom. I couldn't sit still in a chair. I'd go nuts. Or you could go but you just said it, Lisa. You would try to hit the floor, but you say you're not allowed. But you hit the floor. I don't know. Parents are, if you're at the restaurant, the parents are out. You know, I hit the floor. They don't give a crap that you hit the floor. They're having a conversation. You hit the floor. I hit the floor. That's what I'm saying. So your kid's going to hit the floor. The floor is like a jungle. It is like Narnia. It is like Narnia with knees. It's like you get to go to a forestation kids Narnia. Have I signed you Narnia? I don't think I have.
When I was single, or even when I was coupled, I didn't have a kid, I used to be that jerk that would, give the parents a look like, hey, get your kid to behave. This is a restaurant. We're trying to relax after work. Actually, one time I was in a pub and somebody actually changed their baby at the bar.
Oh.
And it was just, I was like, what is wrong with parents? They're completely out of control monsters. But now that I have a kid, I've become what I hate. and I do bring my kid out, but I really go out of my way to keep him quiet and to make sure that people that are out there trying to blow off some steam and trying to have some sort of a semblance of a good time, that their time isn't ruined by my kid being a jerk, you know?
But the truth of the matter is do you like comics? So that's what we're talking about.
Right. I love comics. I actually have shelves and shelves of comic books. And I love lending them out, and I love talking about them. And I actually one day hope to write a comic that my father will illustrate. That's my big dream.
What? Your father's an illustrator? No, hold on. Let me throw with it. What?
Yeah, my dad's a big painter and artist and illustrator from Russia. And he worked on a number of cartoons, like TV cartoons. Like actually, he worked on the Raccoon's Christmas, that entire series, and he worked on. Now this is a cheapy Canadian one, but this is like for cell animation in the '80s. He did a lot of stuff for Hercules, that cartoon. And so I grew up really loving comic books, really loving animation, and right now the father of my child is an animator. So, I love that stuff.
Oh, man, yeah, I didn't know that, and I don't think Alex knew that. I heard him go hum and ha like he's your neighbor, and he doesn't know you. He hasn't stalked you enough.
Well, I'm selfish in the sense that if I'm not interested, I usually won't probe people about it. It's maybe just I'm so interested in so many different things that comic book doesn't come out. Plus, my friend and a part of the network, Aaron Broverman, is kind of my Phil.
He's fantastic. He really knows his stuff.
He is the stuff. That's the thing. He's so ingrained in the culture.
Right. That's why that's what's motivating you. If I can jump on your tail here. That's what's motivating you. It's people who deserve to have a voice, and you're like, I can't believe you don't have a voice. You should have a voice. But it now sounds like f-bombmom should be on your comic book show and have a little cross promotion on that, which is basically the meta. The word we use is meta, very in the moment and very self-purpose. But that's what we're doing. We're meeting each other, we're networking, and we're having the conversations we were going to have anyways and letting other glean from it. Now, if I find that sweet little beat that from what you say might be gleaning gold, that will be my 3-minute clip. And then I'll say, please tell me your website, and that we're promoting, of course. And then we move forward. That's part of this whole process for me. I want to make sure I'm not wasting your hour, which I've begged for. And I wanted to learn it. I wanted to do this anyways. The best part is that when someone says begging for it, I wanted to be here. This is what I call a good marriage. This is what's important, that everybody wants to be there. If you don't want to be there, it's a job. If you do want to be there, there's not enough hours, and that's called a career. And that's the difference of the people who I want to surround myself with. And Alex, you're one of those people I see that you're very motivated in a very it's a very what's the word? There's a
You guys, I gotta apologize. This is actually the first time that my baby boy has started acting like this.
Okay.
And I think right here,
right.
on the air,
Yes.
he has become a toddler.
He wants to walk around. He just wants to walk around. Let him walk
That's what he
around.
wants. But the problem is he can't walk. So as soon as he tries to walk around, it's going to be a disaster.
No,
But
it's
just for
called
you.
it's called creeping. It's called creeping, and then they go from place to place, right? They just go from, you got to put stuff like an ottoman really super close so it becomes a couple of steps. You know, just strengthen the muscles.
Okay,
By the way,
He's now holding on to a chair.
yeah.
And
See,
having
chair.
a
That's
toddler-like tantrum.
That's awesome because he wants to move, baby. Why am I here? I want to be moldable. I want to be like Alex Ross. I want people to know that I'm out there. I need
want
to
to be
be.
a man about town.
Yes, I need to invite business people to meet me on my dates. Things need to happen. He's a very.
what?
I don't know how to
Adam,
network.
Just whatever you seriously, you know what you're doing because this kid just completely calmed down after I followed your advice. You are the toddler whisperer.
No,
Thank
I'm
you.
not. What I am is a boy that has 3 boys, and understanding that I'm always going to be a boy. When I'm talking to other dads who are trying to be adults, which is just taking responsibility for the splotch that didn't end up like the wet spot. And by kids, I mean by that is, you know, when you're with the water guns. I'll explain it in about 12 years. Anyway, we'll just skip over that. Oh, I know you don't care. You're playing Pokemon. They're listening, but they're not listening.
My jaw is on the floor, just so you know. My jaw just hit the ground.
Well,
And
that's
I
how
got yelled at for making Pulp Fiction
No.
reference.
I have to have my friends back here, Adam pal.
Yeah, no, I think I saw that scene in Pulp Fiction. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
And
Yeah.
your kids will eventually, and then we'll play him back this episode.
Yes, no, and it will be available online somewhere with something, and that's what we're talking about. This is a fantastic meeting. It's a meeting of the mind. Like I was saying, starting with comics, which that's where I started. It is a tough business, and I love just doodling and making ideas, and it becoming a director. I started making cards for my wife and putting it in her
She just
lunch.
fell. See you in a second.
Yeah, no, I started making cards for my wife when I was putting it into her lunch, and the company that I started was called While You Were Sleeping Productions, because I couldn't sleep because I was working 24/7, working in the production industry, either as an actor or a performer or a director or whatever it was, anything to do in the industry that was me telling a story I was in. So that's what I was doing for the beginning of time till now. And Alex, you basically have the same kind of story. You ended up going to school to basically learn to tell stories.
Yeah, I'm very privileged to have gone to Ryerson's radio and television broadcasting program. I always wanted to be on the radio. As you know, as soon as I understood Howard Stern, and my parents listened to him every day, I wanted to be the next Howard Stern. I remember being in elementary school and calling Howard Stern and getting through, and he interviewed me. He basically asked me what I wanted to do, and then I was really out of it, and not realizing how those events were foreshadowing. But I told him I wanted to be a lawyer, and I remember him and Robin Gibbons actually scoffing at the idea, and he gave me some pretty choice advice. He said, "Alex, there's 2 things in this world that you never want to amount to. You don't want to be a man who washes another man's underwear, and a lawyer." And I said, "Fine, I'll be the next Howard Stern." And he goes, "Fine, be the next Howard Stern, but don't be that."
I don't know how to take that. Other than my parents also listened to Howard Stern, which said, I listened. Did you like the Kabasa episode, Ma? Was that one of your faves? I wasn't really too sure how to make her eye to eye because, I really do think he takes things to the left side. So I'm not really too sure who his audience is, other than my mother. It was and still is interested in the concept. But he's moved on to something what I want to call digital radio, pay radio. I don't own it. I can't listen to Sirius. I have friends that are on Sirius Radio. Most of my friends are on Sirius Radio. I don't listen because I don't have it. I mean, there's no way to bootleg it, and if there is, I haven't figured it out.
Well, Adam, actually, you can find a lot of his interviews on YouTube.
Yeah,
And
that's a great place.
say what you will, like if you're not a fan of his, that's absolutely understandable. I wasn't for years until I realized what a master interviewer the man is.
Unbelievable.
And now I look up his interviews on YouTube and I'm enthralled.
Well, you have to love about what I love about him is he gets the people that are doing the rounds. You know, the Billy Joels, the people who are going to Good Morning America, right? So basically, he gets them at 5, 6 in the morning, and they're swearing and they're basically themselves. And then an hour later, they're in a national broadcasting, setting, and they are all pleasantries and polite, and it's almost like he gets them who, how they really are, and then they go on for the rest of middle America to, play nice. But that's why I really respect him. It's the lack of censorship, but it's also because he allows almost a freedom in his interviews that national corporations will never ever achieve, only because they're so worried about losing an audience that they therefore can't make more of an audience without the worry that they're going to offend some of those people. Where Howard Stern, same with Kanye West and Neil Young and Gordon Ramsay, they don't care. And it's not that they don't care because they know better than you. It's because that lack of censorship, that lack of caring for, what other people think or how other people work, it doesn't matter to them, and that's what makes them great.
You know what?
I was working
oh, good.
on a-
I was hoping you were back. I was hoping to hear your voice because you said there was a baby down and you were so quiet. Okay, so I was like, we have a baby down. And go ahead. Mitch Hedberg was in my head. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was working on I'm a video editor. I was working on a Canadian reality show that was a version of an American reality show. And, myself and the writer who was hired to punch it up and make jokes were trying to punch up an episode and make jokes. And we were kind of taken aside. And they said, we've got to make the characters here, the characters, like the reality TV people, but who were, I guess, being treated like characters, we got to make them likable. And we said, huh? We're supposed to make this entertaining. And they said, yeah, well, we had a letter from one viewer saying that they didn't like this one girl, and we think that probably represents many people, many
1,000.
viewers.
Yeah, they say that one
And
anything
I
is
thought,
1,000.
and the first thing I thought of was Howard Stern and that story that he tells about how, people were being interviewed who were fans, and it was like, well, why do you listen to Howard Stern? Oh, because I can't wait to hear what he's going to say next. And then his detractors were interviewed. Why do you listen to his show? Well, because I can't wait to hear what he's going to say next.
Right.
And those people, the people that weren't fans, would listen for a half hour longer.
Right.
Well, the Canadian TV industry never read that part of Howard Stern's autobiography.
Yeah. No, I did. He read it to me, actually, on air. I believe that was part of one of his shows. It's not that I don't listen to Howard Stern. I actually like Howard Stern a lot. I like that he became the king of what he wanted to do.
I mean, like...
No, I mean, I love this conversation. We're all on side. What's weird about a conversation that we're all just stroking the ego of Howard Stern. He would be a fun little interview. But I don't do interviews, so sadly I would actually have to reach out to him and say, hey, would you like to chat for just an hour, but about kids? And I'm pretty sure he's not going to be happy with the story he has to tell about how he and his kids had to interact, after everything that went down with his life. So the truth of the matter is, I don't know. I'm always reaching out for the angle of I don't want a bad story. I don't want to talk about the deadbeat dad. I would rather not talk about divorce. If you're divorced, you're now a single father, and you're challenged versus there's a divorce where there's a dilemma. Forget about the ripping. The ripping already has happened, and now everyone is in their pool. And that's where I am with my kids, and that's where I sit with my children. I have people in my life that don't tell people that they've been married before. I tell people, and I use it like even though I've only been married in front of a man of God 3 times, I tell people 8 times because there was renewal of vows, and there was in the eyes of God. when I told someone I wanted to be with them forever, and then we consummated, and then there was a life, and then there wasn't a relationship anymore, I don't know who's going to tell me I wasn't married. I don't even know who I have to talk to. But I lost a lot. I lost stuff. I lost a beat of me. I was married. I don't even know who I have to talk to about that. But I like to be monotonous and monogamous, both. Hopefully one not more than the other, and the woman is the one that adds the spice. Because if the man's adding the spice, holy crap, cookie. I feel bad for that lady. So anyway, I'm moving on. I am a married man, and I like being married, and my children know that I've been married before. And my mom, their booby, is very upset that I say that I've been married 8 times. And you've been married once, right, Lisa?
No.
There you go. Okay, there you go. And zing. And then time passes, and like, oh yeah, so you were saying how you were married before?
No, we're like we've lived together for, I guess we've been together for almost 8 years, and we share a child and a dog and a home and love, but we haven't had the party because neither one of us are very traditional.
Oh, the party.
When I first started working, I started working in wedding videos, and they grossed me out. I really didn't like what I saw of weddings.
Oh, no,
And
no, no. In Canada, and at least in Ontario, which I think is where you're residing, as long as you're, I don't know the course of your 8 years, but it's 8 years working backwards. But when I was dealing with people, it actually just shrunk down to if you were living with somebody for 6 months and sharing rent and sharing a room, you became
Yeah.
common law married and actually
Yeah.
would have to have some form of divorce to separate your things after that, tax refund.
yeah.
Right, we all agree.
So it's all the same.
Yeah,
I know.
no. So you are married
And
and you're okay. You just don't need it, and you called it the party. That's all it is. It's just a party.
Well, yeah, for us, because I mean, the commitment was made a long time ago. We
Right.
wouldn't have a child together. We wouldn't live together otherwise. We wouldn't have built a home together.
Yeah. So see for me, hey, Alex, have you ever been married? Now we're just whose Facebook is on? Someone's Facebook is on, and I'm hearing someone getting messages, and I'm feeling very lonely. No, I'm kidding.
I have not. I have not been married. I'm also of the type to marriage is an interesting concept. I'm a child of divorce. So I was raised with 2 very loving parents that just weren't meant to be together, and it makes you ponder a lot of things at a very early age. It kind of matures you very differently than I think it's very amazing to me when I hear about 2 loving parents or even 2 loving husband and wife combination able to make a very long stretch of life together, and they, in the sense that it benefits each other, emotionally, and it helps when they grow within each other, and it's an interesting concept to me. I personally, have been in the dating world for my entire life, and now I've thought that I've found love and I've lost love, and it's very confusing. I really don't know what's in store for me.
You have to break a few eggs to find. Anyways, the truth of the matter is go out there and find love, be loved, and have it happen to you. At the same time, you have to be willing to be loved, but don't be looking for it, because if you're looking for it, you clearly are not going to find it.
Well, speaking of eggs, I have a funny story. Do you know when your brain tells you to do something, even though it's probably not the thing to do? My roommate left some eggs in the fridge and then moved out and left the eggs for me to consume because he knew I liked eggs. And he thought,
Can you say eggs again, please?
I know, that's why I said that. They were brown eggs. I never buy brown eggs. So one egg was like off color for a brown egg. I don't know if that makes sense because brown is already an off color egg in my head, but it looked kind of off color. It almost looked like a dinosaur egg. It looked like as if the egg was already kind of hard boiled in a sense. And for some reason, the factory decided to put a hard boiled egg in this, very fancy brown egg plastic packaging from President's Choice. I was like, whoa, this is all way too fancy. So I decided, my brain is like, you know what you should do, Alex? You should squeeze that egg in the carton as hard as you can to determine if it is a hard-boiled egg, a defective egg, or like it looked like the egg had completely hardened. So I reached and I squeezed and I proceeded to clean up my entire kitchen, because not only did it make a mess, but the projectile made it so my entire kitchen had pieces of egg on it that I was finding throughout the week.
You know what I like about that is that you getting your eggs cracked so you could find love turned into that story. But also that you have chef shows. Now, also part of my reach, I want to have a chef show. As I said to my kids, I have a character that I work with who does voices, because as you were saying, how do you keep the kids entertained? So I came up with a man whose name is Ashish, and it's Cooking with Ashish. So the kids know it's Cooking with Ashish because they've met the character Ashish before, and you haven't met the character Ashish, but he would cook with people, teaching you how to make basic things so you don't die. And if you have family, they don't die either. And then that's kind of the concept. And then Ashish wants to know, can you just, add a little Ashish to that, a little Ashish action? And he says yes or no.
I like that.
Yeah, it's upside. It's PG, and it's because my kids are right here. They're looking at the Ash. They know who Ashish is. He wears a boutonniere, which is very lovely, and he also has a handkerchief, which is a very lovely touch. But he cooks. He's a chef. Now, what I love about chef is that every boy, both my kid who's 11 years old knows how to cook 3 things for himself already. Now, it's important. Well, no, you need to. They need to have survival skills to take care of themselves. And now, when he's 12, he'll be able to cook everybody lunch or a dinner, and that's his part of his day. I'm actually willing to pay you. Like, I'm looking at you right now. That's a paid gig. I mean, you're taking care of your brothers, so at some point we'll work it out. But at some point, you're a family, and you're working it out together. And I wanted to talk to you anyways. My kids had to be here with me anyways. We're going to have dinner in about 5 minutes, and we're going to wrap up some stuff. But I do love the chef show. I can't believe chef is part of your... I mean, you chose 6 shows. That's why when comics wasn't on your love list, and by the way, kids, you can't love things that are inanimate, but it's on your, you like a lot list. I was weirded out. I got to be honest, because you're putting your heart out there, but it's the guy, not the product. You're investing in the person, not in the message. He's talking comic books, but you're like, meh, I have a comic book story. But he's like, I'm Mr. Comic. And this girl over here, Lisa, says, yeah, holy crap, he has his stuff together. So that's interesting. And now he has a clique of people who are into comic books. Maybe Kevin Smith comes on, and now you're viral.
Well, we're more inclined to people who are passionate about what they do. I'm all about passionate. I'm a passionate person. People think that my passion can sometimes come out as anger or kind of over the top kind of aggressiveness, but that's only because I absolutely love what I do and what I partake in, and that's essentially what I'm looking for, is an extension of that. People that live, breathe, and eat their subject matter. I mean, I love, and I'm going back to when your kids asked me some great questions. I love the Bare Naked Ladies. They're my favorite band. And when my friends and I talk about music and we talk about the inner workings and you read up on stuff and you get this insider information to the point where you can even talk to the artists themselves or read their interviews and get a piece of them that makes you think that you can relate this to people in a way that they would have never.
No, lost you. They would never, and then you got smashed in the face with a fish.
It's that kind of passion.
With a fish. That's weird. Are you moving? That's weird. We've lost you again. It's like you're walking through a tunnel.
What's for dinner tonight, guys?
Hey, Lisa, are you still there?
Passion.
Yeah, you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Passion.
Passion pit.
Is he coming in and out for you, or are you hearing him constant?
By him, you mean Alex Ross?
I
He's
do.
coming in as a constant, passionate voice through my speakers.
That's too bad, because he's coming in and out for me. So, Alex, that last little story that had me just entertaining my kids with puppets, which on the radio is magnificent. Second to none, magic. After that, ventriloquism. I'm just saying the things I'm going to do for the radio. I love the medium of theater of the mind. So you were telling a story about something that's for dinner, and that's all I actually heard from the up and down from what you were just saying. Are you gone, Mr. Ross?
I'll be right
No,
there in a second. Sorry.
no, it's okay. I don't even know what the hell that means. But kids, that's called a producer. The truth of the matter is, I've been to a producer party. This is exactly how I felt. So I invited Lisa here as well because we're both performers and we know how it is to be at producer parties. And yeah, no, go ahead. I'll just get a drink at the bar. So here we are getting Lisa.
You and I are the ones that make things.
Yeah,
Producers
no.
are the ones that
We're
go
genius.
blah blah blah.
Yeah, we're
Pat
genius.
myself on the
Yeah,
back.
we're genius. And by the way, I've heard some of your stuff. I like that. You know, you think you're gonna meet an adult, and no, you're still a kid. You're a kid at heart. I'm anti-sports, which is the funny thing. Like I'll play any sport, but I can't watch anything. So it's always funny when I find people who are into sports and that can use that as an extension of themselves. Because
Well, I'm anti people that are anti anything.
that's interesting.
Ooh,
No,
I like that.
that's interesting. I just don't like to see anybody because every little kid that's involved in hockey wants to punch people out, but they want to do it with four of their guys and with sticks.
Yes, but haven't you ever seen two expert chess players perform strategy? I mean, I will find myself watching YouTube videos of chess experts just to see their emotion, their strategy, their brains firing. It's that type of athleticism, whether it be mental or physical, that really intrigues me. Yes, are sports invented to take away from everyday life? So
It's escapism, straight up escapism. It's like reading a good novel. But yeah, so I would rather escape.
idolizing things.
Yeah, I'd rather escape while
Yes,
doing
I
it,
totally agree,
well
but
instead of
so
watching
I don't
others.
need to overtalk you.
No, you can't because it's my show. I'm recording me. But I hear you. I hear what you think you're saying.
But the whole world is escapism, is my point. Everything that we do, and like no offense to myself or this network of people, the reason why we're all doing
Passion.
it is a form of escapism, whether they like to admit it or not. But a sports
She's your official hype girl. That's all.
I know. That's why I love her.
No, I think I can love her. I've never actually met her face to face or her child. I
Then
just
you'll love her even
Why are you coming in and out like a crazy? Did you have a microphone?
more.
Wow.
Me? Am I cutting in and out?
Yeah. Well, to me, not to Lisa, which is.
I thought you were the one with the fancy microphone, Alex. You're the one.
I attempted to use my fancy microphone, but of course my iPhone headphones were working just as well. So I thought, have they started?
You know what I love?
walk
You know what I love about you saying iPhones before you did that? That's my clip. I want to say thank you for everybody for hanging out with us tonight. People who are in the online community, if you want to reach out to Mr. Alex Ross, he's available for anybody who thinks they have something new that's innovative, that's going to take another step into a direction of where you've never gone before. He's listening because he's awake. He's drinking coffee. He's doing stuff. He's in town up until September. Then he's off to L.A., which I have some suggestions for that. From his boutique position, he's going to position himself in some kind of fashion for the next takeover. And Lisa is one of his, I don't want to say pawns, I don't want to say queen, but the queen moves all over the board, my friend. So you better watch yourself.
You can say king.
I could.
Yeah,
I
I agree. There's no gender stereotypes, gender roles here in our game of chess.
Right,
I'm
never-
actually the horsey.
Oh, that's nice. Neversleeps.com, if that's true. Network, neversleepsnetwork.com, and as well as the f-bombmom.com. And she's also the better half, if not the female half of the woman who does this story, who actually has guests on that show as well. I actually heard a third voice once on one of those podcasts, I'm pretty sure. And I'm trying to use the word pomcast. So thank you very much for your time. I learned a lot about everything. I know that I want to go golfing. I know that I hope that I'm available to go golfing. I learned that there is a whole community out there that we need to reach out to. And there's two more shows that you didn't talk about, Alex, if you wanted to say those last two. So we have the name of your show is?
So I have two shows, actually. The one I do that's industry intel. That's what we base basically the weekly shows on.
Okay, and the website
right now
to that it's on the NSN, but is there an actual?
Sorry, let me start that sentiment again. I have two shows. We have a flagship show called Ross Never Sleeps, and I talk to people of the arts industry, whether it be comedians, musicians, and any kind of traditional art form. We like to come and have them here and interview them about their passion and their art form. And then I have a culinary show called Speaking Duck. And on Speaking Duck, we've been interviewing mostly chefs, some of the major players in Toronto. We've even talked to a Top Chef Canada finalist. So that's my two shows. Lisa's incredibly hilarious comedy show, which is called You Better Don't. I would say it's a little bit more traditional in the sense that we have a very absurd, non-traditional comedy show called CDOS, and that's Corey and Dylan on, and for the lack of a PG audience, or the fact that there is a PG audience, it's Corey and Dylan on Stuff.
Yeah, but hold on, it's not PG though. They're gonna.
That's not a PG show.
No, nothing's
the
PG.
name of their show is actually not Stuff, but another.
I see what you're doing. See, kids, he's doing awesome stuff. So here we go. So the good stuff for you, it's delicious stuff, and I like when I don't step in stuff. So
and the last two shows are Speech Bubble, which is Aaron Broverman's Toronto's best comic book podcast, Speech Bubble, and my co-producer, my creative producer, if you will, Joseph Yanni, who's helped this podcast network really come to life, and I couldn't have done it without him. He's really the blood that's pumping into my heart. And he has a show called Sex and Life with Eli Jakeman.
Okay.
And together they talk about some very adult savvy things that are not necessarily spoken by two young men who really know their stuff.
Wow, this in and out thing's hilarious. What I like about that is I get to talk to my
Great
kids.
Voice, and I recommend everybody to watch everything. There's a little bit on our neck.
Yeah, you know what? Next time we'll do an actual sound check. I'm actually thinking back an hour ago. I don't believe we did a sound check. We just said, here we go. I should have, of course, been the core worker. I didn't reach out to both of you to give me the strongest signal on Skype. I've called into your group, which is interesting. So I've learned something today. I will probably edit this down so things sound more appropriate. But I do like the blurbers of him going away and coming back. Now, Lisa, do you have something to promote for yourself to keep this clip under 4 minutes?
Yeah. Sorry. What do you mean?
He just promoted your both of your online things. Are you promoting anything else?
Can I say that there is another woman, and she lives in New Jersey, and she's actually got what's it called? f-bombmom.com, which I discovered with Alex, and we are in no way affiliated, but her husband is a big lawyer, and I would like to distinguish myself by saying that I'm actually f-bombmom.com.
Oh my God.
And I'm entirely different.
Yeah.
No, our network has controversy
probably less
already.
safe for work than she is. I'm probably less safe for work.
Yeah, I believe I had that conversation with your better half from You Better Don't. After you told me what you were about to do, I searched some stuff because I wanted to make links that's what I do on the www.pomcastnetwork.com. Is I'll link to anything that is in its own core a PG, but if it's not, I put on the link. This is not for your kids, but it is for a listen. So it's in a clip form because I believe it's like 6 to 7 minutes long. You Better Don't, as well as mine, of course, is an hour long. I divided up with the kids, have their little portion, as you heard. We also divide up a clip that I think is what we're doing right now, which we've probably just pushed off to, which will probably have already gone into theme song. At this point, I'd like to thank you both for your time and say thank you again off what I'll call the air, even though we're just talking ones and zeros and gibberish. Alex, thank you very much for your time. I hope that we see NSN doing things and being maybe even, you know what I saw it? I saw it as like the farm team for like NBC. You know what I mean? Like you have this place where you can just try to do stuff that, you know, the best you can and see what you can do, and then all throw it at the big leagues, and it comes from that one funneled place of the best of the best. You know what I mean?
Well, you're right in the sense that it's almost like a farm team, but I think these guys are all pros. They just haven't been incubated yet, and this is essentially their.
That's why it's farm team, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Giving you that sense of being part of turning it on. And so, Lisa, did you promote anything? Because I missed it if you did.
Did I what? Sorry?
Did you promote something? Because I missed it if you had. Did you promote yourself doing anything else? Is there anything else?
Yeah, it was my no, it was just that
Oh,
the
you want to tell you just wanted to
video.
tell me that the other person who has a lawyer, you got problems. That was it? Okay.
No, just that the correct website is used, because what it is it's not a podcast only for Alex's network. It's also a video, a web series where you actually see my dumb face.
Oh.
And You Better Don't has a quiz attached every week. So Lisa's really good at really not necessarily stretching her voice, but really getting all the formats into one
Writer, I'm
place.
a video person, I'm on air, I'm behind the scenes, video editing, you name it.
Yeah, I just want to do things I don't have to wear pants. Okay, so let's just say see you later. My kids are going to say they're just playing Pokemon. All right, well, that's what happens. And let's just say see you later. And we're off the air. Every highway starts to look the same. Mile markers are my minutes in my day. Through my mirrors I can see my home behind me. I signed my soul on the dotted line. Yes, I signed my soul on the dotted line. Yes, I signed my soul on the dotted line.